This student thought he had all the answers.
All right, so I'm gonna quote you real quick. You said, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Are you gonna do that?
Yeah, I mean that is correct, yeah.
There's no question that Charlie Kirk gets quoted out of context a lot. But this young guy took it even further, cherry-picking quotes and completely misrepresenting facts, only to prove he misunderstood the entire issue.
DEI is the reason why they're not in these positions. But it's because they're... Listen!
Man, you are making no sense at all.
That's why today we're covering it all, because we're not here to follow parties blindly. We're here for common sense. So, if you're an independent thinker, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
How you doing, Charlie? Everybody good? That's good. All right, so I'm gonna quote you real quick. You said, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Are you gonna do that?
Yeah, I mean that is correct, yeah.
That's correct? Okay, so can we both agree?
What was the context of what I said, though?
What was the context? I don't even want to get into DEI because your opinion on DEI, it doesn't really help it in this case. So if the context between what you brought up was that you believe that
because they were being hired because they were black.
Okay, so can we both agree that every single pilot, whether black, white, whoever, has to go through FAA certification?
No, actually,
we can't.
New lawsuit shows that black pilots and female pilots have the standards being relaxed.
No,
for them.
sir. Can we agree at the time of February 29th or 2023 when you said it at the time? No.
No, actually, I said it. That's why you don't know the context. Is that new lawsuits were showing that they were relaxing the standards for air traffic control and pilots in order to meet the standards.
The context of that was diversity, equity, and inclusion. What does that have to do with hiring?
Everything. DEI definitionally is that we will hire more of a race versus a different race. So, for example, United Airlines said that they want 50% of their new pilots to either be women or black. Okay. Currently, just so you understand, it's like 8%. So they want to go from 8% to 50%.
Okay.
And every time DEI is implemented, every single time, the lowering of standards occurs.
He's absolutely right. And while there's plenty of data to support these claims, let's take a step back and examine the entire premise of DEI. It has existed in some form since the mid-20th century, evolving after the civil rights movement and gaining massive traction in the last decade or so. By then, it had become a full-fledged industry, so much so that Harvard Business Review dubbed it the, quote, DEI industrial complex. Over the years, various studies claimed this system worked wonders. For example, a 2015 report from McKinsey & Company suggested that, quote, corporations with more diverse executive teams are more profitable. But when that study was re-examined in 2024 with a different sample, the results didn't hold up. In fact, analysts found that McKinsey's methodology was flawed, and it failed to establish any causal link between diversity and profitability. Let that sink in. However, Charlie chose to provide a different example to illustrate his point, saying this.
Can I prove it to you? We both want excellence, right?
Okay.
If you and I said, hey, we want 50% of the new people going in the NBA are white.
Okay.
Would the NBA drop in its standard?
No. The National Basketball League?
No, if we said 50%, if we say
if 50% of the NBA dropped and it was only white.
No,
you're saying would the standard go down?
I'm not hearing what I'm saying. If 50% of all new people going in the NBA were white, by decree, would the quality of play of the NBA decrease?
Would the quality of play in the NBA decrease?
Yeah.
No, if they're the same standard of basketball play.
Hold on, let's talk realistic.
Well, what are you saying realistically? You're asking me if
75% of the NBA is black. 75%.
So does that mean white players are less better, or does that mean
whites are not as good at basketball as blacks?
Okay.
I mean, we got some big.
Everybody, calm down.
We got some big exceptions. I mean, we're very proud of Larry Bird. Okay.
Sports are the perfect example of why DEI, as it's commonly practiced, doesn't hold up. Every team is focused on one goal: winning. That's what drives revenue, builds fan bases, and secures long-term success. In this setting, there's no room to prioritize anything over performance. Talent always comes first. This flips the typical DEI narrative on its head, particularly the idea that race-based hiring or selection is necessary to overcome systemic barriers. While historical discrimination absolutely existed, claiming in 2025 that people are still widely excluded based solely on their background doesn't align with reality. You see, we live in a hyper-connected, data-driven world where organizations seek out the best talent. Period. That's the market incentive. The young guy decided to push back, giving the example of European players in the NBA. But Charlie dismantled that argument in seconds.
Why is it that 75% of the NBA is black?
Because we integrated into the league.
No, because the best players are allowed to play in the NBA.
Well, actually, the best players in the NBA are European born.
Well,
they're not even African American.
I mean, a couple of them are. As I said, we're very proud.
No, we're very integrated within sports, but what does that prove?
That proves that the NBA is not built on DEI, it's built on excellence.
No, the NBA isn't proof. So when you mention DEI, you're now saying that it's...
You obviously don't know what DEI is. DEI...
How I know what DEI is if you're not giving me a proper explanation on what
DEI is racial quotas.
Racial quotas?
Yes. You've never heard of DEI before. So, do you know what a racial quota is? You have to have a certain amount of a certain race. That is what United Airlines did. Mm-hmm. We must get to 50% of our pilots to be black or women. Therefore, if the NBA said 50% of our players have to be white, I guarantee you, we could try to get as many Serbs and Croats as possible. It's not going to make the NBA the best league. Instead, the NBA has a policy of which the NBA and the FAA and the United Airlines should have the same policy. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It matters how good you are at what you do. So excellence matters.
Exactly. And here's the key point. Basketball is the second most popular sport in many of the European countries where these players come from. That means they've spent decades building structured developmental leagues, training programs, and youth systems to nurture talent. All of these result in highly skilled individuals who excel at their craft. Now, compare that to what United Airlines was aiming for with their DEI initiative. They set a goal to train about 5,000 new pilots at their school by 2030, with at least half being women or people of color. Now, keep in mind, if we look at all pilots in the United States, fewer than 7% of them are women, and only about 1% are women of color. Looking at these numbers, it's clear they had to take some shortcuts just to hit the targets they set for themselves.
So what you're saying is the NBA
is a great example
No, it's a bad example, because in the example that I gave you, I said when you say a black or female pilot might be less qualified because of DEI, what you're implying is that they didn't earn their spot.
Correct, they didn't, because that's what DEI does.
That's what you're implying?
Because you're there because of the quota, not because of excellence.
Does DEI give you the opportunity because of who you are, or does it open up access?
No, it gives it because of literally the color of your skin.
Charlie, you are quoted by saying that, guys,
everyone knows the quote because it's true. When you hire somebody...
What's true?
It's true because they are there not because of their merit, but because of a racial quota. Why is it that only 8% of pilots right now for United Airlines are black or female?
It's actually 3%.
Oh, that proves my point even more.
No, it doesn't. Guys, DEI is the reason why they're not in these positions. But it's because they're... Listen.
Man, you are making no sense at all.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is the reason as to why accesses are now open to certain races.
Hold on. Can a black person not become a pilot before DEI?
What are you saying? Was it equal opportunity or was it equal access?
But
was it equal opportunity? Was it equal access?
It's
Charlie?
Equal, both.
This is exactly what happens when people are constantly bombarded with surface-level propaganda. We're fed polished talking points that claim something is good or necessary, yet there's rarely a solid explanation to back those claims up. And that's what made Charlie so effective. He didn't just push back with opinions. He asked simple, critical questions that exposed the lack of substance behind many mainstream narratives. His real strength was encouraging young people to think for themselves rather than blindly accept what they're told. This debate took a detour, and the pair continued going back and forth about the criminal justice system. But what stood out the most was how the conversation ended.
Boo! Yeah, Charlie, for the sake of myself, I really do appreciate the ability to debate with you, man.
I want you to think about what I asked you.
Okay, you mind if I have a hat?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This clip should be played on a loop everywhere in the country at the moment. Both Charlie and the student came in with their own arguments, one being backed with facts, of course, and despite their differences, they ended with mutual respect. Can't say we've seen the same thing since the tragic event at UVU. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.